I thank my friend from Texas for yielding. On Monday morning, I was scheduled to be at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, to look at some of their research. A lot of the research that NIH does has been done in our state. A third of the research for the Human Genome Project was done in our state. And then on Tuesday evening, for the fifth year in a row, I was at the fundraising event for the National Institute, the Children's Inn at the National Institute of Health, where families and children can stay while they're there for treatment. This is a private sector event, and in spite of everything else that was going on, it was a great event where lots of money was raised for those kids. I said at that event that somebody told me years ago that if everybody in your family is well, you have lots of problems. If somebody in your family is sick, you have one problem. And the Children's Inn is one of the places where people help families deal with the one problem they have. But as virtually every member of this Senate at one time or another has said, the work at the NIH is important. It's important that it continue. The House yesterday passed a House joint resolution that would continue that work. Mr. President, I'd ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of H.J. Res. 73, making continuing appropriations for the National Institutes of Health for the fiscal year 2014. I ask further consent that the measure be read 3 times and passed, and the motion be to reconsider, be considered, made, and laid upon the table. I would just say to my friend from Texas that until the leadership in the Senate changed the current leadership 7 years ago, we always did appropriations by debating and advancing individual things. The idea that we would only do this by, we don't want to debate anything if we don't debate everything, that makes no sense. It's not the way the government should run. I think the House is not only well-intended, that their goal is a worthy goal. And at the National Institute of Health, the House of Representatives, led by Republicans beginning in 1995, doubled NIH funding in 10 years. My good friend from South Dakota and I were there for the majority of that 10-year doubling of NIH funding. Last year in the Appropriations Committee markup, I voted for a bill that would add $1 billion extra to NIH funding. It was defeated in the committee. This year I voted for a bill that would add almost $1.5 billion of additional funding to NIH funding. This makes a difference in the lives of people. Francis Collins, the director of NIH, Dr. Francis Collins, has estimated that each week that there's a shutdown, his agency's research hospital would have to turn away an estimated 200 patients. He estimated 30 of those patients would be children every week of a shutdown. Now, I know that they took the children and the individuals that were coming Monday and Tuesday, but are now beginning to notify people, if you were scheduled to come, we've got 4,000 people working and 14,000 people not working. We can't accept you right now. And I think this is the right thing to do. It's an easy thing to do if we would just stand up and do it. If we don't oppose NIH, and I don't believe there's a senator that does, why don't we continue their funding and do it right now? I was impressed by my friend from Illinois' comments yesterday about NIH funding. I'm for NIH funding. I've never failed to vote for NIH funding. I've frankly never failed to vote on an amendment that would increase NIH funding, as far as I know, and I've seen it increase dramatically, and opening the doors of that research facility is the right thing to do. We could do it today. I can't imagine the president wouldn't sign a bill that let 3/4 of that workforce go back to work and let the 200 people that will be turned away in the next 7 days be told instead, come on, be part of this process. We're waiting for you. We're here. We're doing the kinds of things that your family critically needs us to do.